Hey guys, Mike's Gettin Greasy Garage. Working on the old man C4 Corvette today. The rear trailing arms, or dog bones as they're known in C4 Corvette vernacular. The bushings, each one has a bushing front and rear. There's two arms. Getting movement in the back wheels. Already did the wheel bearing hub replacement like a year ago. The bearings are still fine. Problem is it's actually making noise going down the road and vibrating really bad, and the best way to check it for bearings, check up and down to check the dog bones. Basically like a 3 and 9 o'clock, and you can see all the movement. You can actually see the aluminum spindle moving, and if you look closer while you're doing it or have somebody do it for you, you'll see the movement in the dog bone bushings. So anyway, you cannot find just the rubber bushings to replace those anymore. There's a company out there, some Corvette outfit, that has complete arms. If you choose to go that route, go ahead. I'm going to use poly bushings. I'm not going to have the whole poly versus rubber versus heim joint discussion with everybody. And some say it squeaks and it's hard riding and it messes up the geometry, whatever. This is my channel, it's what I'm using. Feel free to use whatever you want. I am going to show you some tricks, however, to use poly bushings so that they don't squeak and drive you nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and get some tools and we'll get started. Alright guys, so I went ahead and grabbed the tools. 22 millimeter deep well. I adapted mine to use my long handled 3/8 ratchet. And I got my little 12 volt 3/8 zappy gun with an 18 millimeter deep. Small hammer. Big regular screwdriver or a small pry bar would work. 22 millimeter wrench, 18 millimeter wrench. Alright, we'll start here with, I want to say, if you're doing this in your driveway and you don't have a lift, yes, it's a little bit more difficult. However, don't make the mistake of pulling both of these arms off at once, because then you have to deal with getting everything repositioned. It is kind of a fight to get this back together. Just have patience, it does go together. I like to do the top arm first and then do the bottom arm second. So on the back here, you've got a 22 millimeter headed bolt. Same with the nut. And it's tight confines, there's not a lot of room. But you can, this is where having a long handled ratchet comes in nice, because you can get right to the back of it. And then you break. They're tight. Break the bolt loose. Once you get it broke loose, you can take the nut off by hand. On these back bushings, there is a washer on each side of the bushing so that the steel sleeve in the bushing doesn't eat through the aluminum hub or spindle or whatever you want to call it. Again, Corvette things. Oh, there's our washer. One of them, they both look like that. There's our nut. Set them out of the way. Now, if you want, you can take the brakes all apart, take the rotor off the backing plate and slide the bolts all the way out. There's really no need to. So, you just give her some jiggle. Oh, there goes the other washer. Well, There's the arm. You can see that should not move that easy. A lot of side to side. So up in here, you've got this U-channel bracket. You can get a wrench in there. You get our ratchet. Okay. Alright, I'll go ahead and get these out and bring you guys back. Okay guys, so I got the nut loose from the inside. It's real tight. You can get a couple fingers up in there, but nice thing is, these aren't lock nuts. You'll notice the head of this bolt is ground off. That was the clearance for these 2012 Z06 Corvette wheels. Do this at your own risk. I'm not responsible for any damages or injuries, but there's enough meat left on there I could get a socket on it. Dog bone slides out. So we'll pop over to the other side of the shop and press these out. Alright guys, so we're here at the press, 12-ton press. This makes this job easier, but you don't need it. If you have a little bit of brute strength and a big hammer, anything can be accomplished. So the first thing you need to do on these is this center sleeve needs to be pressed out. Now you can put a big punch in there, put it on a vise or something, drive them out both ends. Nope, they're not in there too hard. I prefer just to put it in the press, push the pin out first, tight here. This is kind of a slow part of the process, but again, all we're doing now is just pushing that sleeve out of the bushing. We'll push the rubber bushing out next. Alright. Stop her about there. Knock the punch out of it. There's our sleeve, and as you can see, a lot of wear on that sleeve all the way around, and then they're worn out in the center. These are the original bushings from 1985 on that car, so we'll go ahead and push out the other side. You're going to want to mark them which end goes where. On these we had to clearance a little bit for wheels, so I know where they go. Again, same deal. Push out the bushing. Well, let me get this out and we'll come back. Alright guys, well I had a little technical difficulty with the bottle jack and the press. Fortunately you can switch them out. I have an 8-ton sitting around. It's a 12-ton rated press. It doesn't take that much to get these out, so I just switched it out with what I have. We'll go ahead and get the sleeve out. Might push the whole bushing out. That's okay too. There it goes. bushings are out. Now you take a big socket or whatever you have. I have sockets. And I've just got the plates for the press. Unfortunately, this fits on there pretty good. So I'll go ahead and get these bushings out, and then we'll show you how to put the new ones in. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you real quick here. Prothane is the brand. Found these on Jegs. I want to say they were like 50-60 bucks for the whole kit. You get enough bushings to do all four arms on the car. And then you get sleeves, a couple tubes of poly grease. If you buy these poly bushings and they don't have grease for the poly bushings, go to your parts store and buy some. This is what keeps these from squeaking. And a couple other tricks that we'll get into. So, obviously you have two different diameter sleeves. The bushings correspond. So I took I just use these cheap acid brushes and I put the grease on the inside. Just kind of start your bushing by hand. You can press them in, or you could use a C-clamp. I just lay them on a hard surface. Lock them down until they're all the way in. Flip it over. Same thing. Now these bushings are pretty hard, so just want to seat them till they're flush. Now they're also going to crush in a little more once you tighten them down, so it's not a big concern. Now that I've got them both in, I know by my mark, this is the little end. So, start my bushing in. Now you can just tap that bushing all the way in, or like, all I use is a C-clamp. I just tape the wider washer to the one end. C-clamps are cheap at Harbor Freight. This doesn't require a lot of pressure. You could actually use this and some bigger washers to press the bushings in if you wanted to do it that way. And I just turn it in. None of this is difficult. Hardest part's probably getting the rubber bushings out, but once you get the sleeve out, the rubber can be cut out, burned out, drilled out, whatever. It's not bonded in there. So we just push this bushing in till it stops. And that's how you put the bushings in. So I'll go ahead and get this other end done, and then we'll go back to the car and get on with this. Alright guys, well, we got the bushings and the sleeves installed. As you can see, everything's good to go. Next trick, anti-seize. If you got the copper stuff, it's fine. I use the gray stuff. This evil shit gets everywhere. If you use it, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I don't go crazy with this stuff. I do coat the inner sleeve. and just a little bit around the ends. Don't need a ton of it. This is just to keep things happy and not squeaky. Alright, and that little bit on the ends makes it not squeak so much. So, next thing, we get this back in. I don't think there's any point in you guys watching me get this back in. You just have to put it in and get it centered up. A little tappy. The screwdriver might be a hair big. It is. It's alright. There we go. You can use a punch or a screwdriver, really anything to get it lined up. These bolts are kind of pointed on the end. Okay, not enough. Okay. Alright, we're starting in now. So here's where you get to be tricky. You gotta hold that nut up in there. It's not easy. Alright, where'd my wrench go? You can also do it with the wrench if you don't drop it. I'll find it and show you guys how to get it back together. Alright guys, so got the dog bone back in, got the bolts in. I recommend have a buddy come over. You're just going to need somebody to help you. Just kind of move things around while you're sticking these bolts through. Everything is tight with the new bushings. You can do it by yourself, but that depends on your skill level and only you know that. But a couple cold snacks and some pizza, have a buddy come over and you can knock these things out. Not a big deal. There is torque specs for these and a procedure. Well, not really a procedure. I'm just putting a nut on the back of it. Make sure you get both your washers in here. In the service manual for this 85 Corvette, it doesn't say anything about compressing the suspension to ride height before you torque the bolts. Front bolts have one torque spec, the rear ones have another. Make sure you torque all this stuff. This is what holds it all together. And you know, again, getting these nuts on the back sides of these front bolts is kind of a pain. You can take this bracket out. There's a couple bolts to do that. I find it easier just to line everything up through here, twist this a little bit, get the bolt started, and you can work it in. Just be patient. But that's about it, really. Not a lot of tricks to it. This will improve the rear handling of the car. I mean, let's face it, this car is almost 40 years old, it's 85, so, you know, these bushings and stuff get worn out, the wheels start moving in funky directions, and so this ought to correct it. It's not an expensive repair to do if you're doing it yourself. I would recommend that when you're done have a four-way alignment done just to verify everything. But you know, even if you choose to go, they make adjustable links unless you got a race car, I don't think they're necessary, and they're like $800 for all 4 of them. But even if you do that, have a 4-way alignment done and make sure everything's torqued. And that's about it. That's about all I got for you guys on this. Another C4 video for you. Alright, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Up to 283 subscribers. We're doing great. Thanks, guys. And we'll catch you in the next one. Stay greasy, my friends.